Hey, I need to bring this home the right way. So we're gonna forget about the Luya man for a bit. We're raising kids who are turning out wrong in lots of ways, at least a majority, not everyone. And we are quickly blaming internal generation. Oh, Gen Alpha, blah, 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 there's this and that. But I am someone who loves looking at problems from the genesis. Let's cycle it back. We have a generation, and this is the generation of parents and adults mostly. I think the millennial, we call it the millennial trauma. We have a generation that is so fixated, so fixated at protecting kids and shielding kids from things and traumas that they went through. And there's nothing wrong with that. But we're doing it at the expense of a few fundamentals here. For instance, most of us are resilient. Most of us are hardworking. Most of us are adaptable. All these beautiful virtues, we are most of that because of how we were raised. Now, we might differ with our parents on the how the values were instilled in us. You probably became disciplined because there was always kiboko around the corner. You probably became resilient because there was hard labor and all that. And yeah, the method might have been questionable, but you don't trust the whole thing. You don't trust the process. You don't trust the outcome of the process because your child today needs resilience. However, they're going to earn it. They need discipline, they need consistency, and they need to be able to be adaptable. Whatever virtues that you want to instill in your kids have to be instilled one way or another. Now, if the goal is resilience, what are you going to do to get it done in a manner that is probably less crude than how you acquired it from your parent? So what is my point? We are too much on, I cannot let my child go through what I went through, to the point now you are raising a child who lacks one fundamental lesson. And I usually say this is the one thing that lacks in our children. We've shielded our children from what we call consequence, because consequence is the only practical lesson that any human interacts with primarily. Every other thing can be taught through theory, but consequence is the only thing, it's the only lesson that is instilled organically through experience. And we're going out of our way to ensure that our children lack the taste of consequence. They lack the ability to be accountable. They lack environments and situations that circumstantiate them to pay for things they have done. Why? Because I can't do that to my child. Parents, I'm speaking as a teacher. You can't just be out there giving birth to children because there's money to take care of children. And it's very sad that we've reduced the conversation on ability to raise kids to become skillfully around financial ability. So if I have the money, I can get the kids. Then once I get the kids and I'm unable to properly be there as a parent, I then pay away my parental rights. Let the help take care of the kids, let the driver take care of the kids, let the nanny take care of kids. And then there's the biggest culprit, always collateral damage, the teacher. Parents, most, I've interacted with amazing parents. Most parents just, however, do not want to accept their role and their play in the raising of their kids. And teachers have become a very easy landing victim for the vents. You know, the teacher didn't do this. Where were you when this happened? Some of the school environments actually offer better safety for your kids than even your own homes, because you're never there to check and balance. You don't know what your kid watches. Sometimes you don't even know what your kid eats. You don't know who your kid plays with. You don't know the games your kid plays because you're never around. But in school, all these things are mitigated. We know what sites your kids are using, if they're using any gadgets. We know what games they're playing. The policies are very guiding. Your children are sometimes safer in schools with teachers than they are with you. But because the child cannot be wrong, she forgot her homework at home, but where was the nanny to pack the homework? The teacher, why didn't you write a note in the diary? Everybody is wrong but you and your child. And it's a lot of nonsense. It's a lot of nonsense. I have always lived within this philosophy. Controversial, but I stand by it anyway. Strive to be a parent first before you are a friend to your child. Some of us have engrossed ourselves in the desire to be friends to our children. You want your child to be happy. You want to play games. You want to make videos that make it look like, you know what, me and my child are best friends. Nonsense. There's nothing wrong with that. Be a very good friend to your child, but let that be secondary to, first of all, you being a parent. And what does being a parent mean? Nobody comes with that manual, and I accept. I'm not a better parent than any parent out there, but there are a few things that I know and we can conventionally agree on them. Number one, parenthood involves you getting yourself into circumstances where you'll be uncomfortable with the child, circumstances where you're going to annoy the child. But you know what? That is the pain that comes with parenthood. It's like any other beautiful thing. There are discomforts involved. The end result justifies it. Once someone looks and is like, oh, this is where we were headed to. And let me tell you one thing for a fact, these children will always appreciate you for it. And I am a living example. I was brought up brutally. I'm not trying to bring up my child brutally, but I appreciate the lessons that I learned growing up and the things that I took under the way. So it just takes you and your wisdom and adaptability and the acceptance of the change of generation to then restructure your parenting skills or techniques so that you still instill the values without being maybe as brutal or as traumatizing as your parents were to you. But the children we're raising today are lacking that lesson. And by protecting them in the manner that we are, we're doing them a very big injustice. I meet adults who tell me, oh, you know, I can't speak my language because my parents didn't teach me that. Or I can't do this because my parents never let me do this. I don't know how to cook because my parents never let me cook. And it is not bad to make your child's life a little lighter or a little easier, but ensure that you're raising someone who's self-reliant. Yeah. I had a father who could employ a groundsman. We had someone to take care of cattle every other day. And I could never understand why every Friday evening this gentleman always got an off. Saturday and Sunday, it was written on stone. The cattle, the home chores belonged to me. He gave him an off, and it was fundamental for him that I learned this specifically. And those are some of the things that I look back and say, man, this was so, so, so helpful. So, parents out here, let us not hold on to the innocence of our children too much. Let's not look at them as vulnerable creatures. Let's look at them as people who deserve a fair shot at the life lessons. And we should not be the ones standing in between them and the lessons that they have to learn. And I will part with a very controversial observation. So, teenagers in a girls' school consciously plot a plan to torch down the school. Very consciously, they go through the plan. They shut some of the doors and windows to ensure that there are no available exits in the school. They torch the dormitory, well aware that there were other students who were in there sleeping. The awareness of the outcome of their actions was very vivid in their heads and in their minds. These are not children who knew what consequences are. These are not children who know what doing something wrong can cause. And it's because a lot of the shielding had been done. And this is my perspective. And you could imagine this is a child that you want to treat very innocently out there and hope that anytime they interact with a sober adult and there's a possible altercation, that the adult will always be wrong and the child is innocent. I disagree. There's a lot of revision that needs to be done to the extent of the innocence of children. And again, I insist, I'm not talking blanketly. The very amazing parents, the very amazing children out there, the very well brought up children out there. They're also parents who've just done a very good job, and maybe the individual that is the child just turned out the way they did. But all said and done, I think you sleep better as an adult knowing I did what I had to do, even if the outcome that is my child did not reflect that. Food for thought. Just keep teachers out of your mouths and try to be parents. Spend time with your children. Stop paying away responsibilities.